Hey everyone, welcome to today's video. I just wanted to say that today's video will be about the best pets for beginners. Although I don't think that there are any beginner pets, I do think that there are some pets that are easier to care for than others. Even if you don't personally agree with this list, this is my list based on my personal experiences. All the pets that I mention on this list I either currently own or have owned at one point in my life. Remember to like and subscribe so you won't miss future uploads. And with that being said, let's get into the video and I hope you enjoy. Starting off this list, we have Budgies. I have had Budgies for pretty much all my life and I can't remember a time when I haven't owned Budgies. When I'm filming this video, I currently have 6 Budgies. I have 5 in one cage and then a male who had to be separated from the flock due to an injury and he wasn't able to be reintroduced to the rest of my Budgies. But he's doing well now and his cage is next to the other Budgies so that he will still be able to communicate with other birds of his own species. I've got a few videos on Budgies already, but I do believe that Budgies are a good pet for beginners. You could have Budgies in an aviary or large cage without human interaction, or you could have Budgies that would sit on your shoulder. I've had both aviary and hand-raised birds. If you do choose to get Budgies, it is usually advised to get 2 as they are very social flock animals and they tend to do best in pairs or more. Budgie care isn't too complex, especially compared to other birds. Budgies' cages also don't have to be as large as other birds, which is good. Pretty much the only reasons why I wouldn't recommend Budgies for everyone is because they are very messy and they can be quite loud. I do have a Budgie pros and cons video if you would like to know more about Budgies and if Budgies would be right for you. Next up, we have Hermit Crabs. I've had 3 Hermit Crabs, so I'm not as experienced in Hermit Crabs as I am in other animals, such as Budgies, but I do still have some experience with Hermit Crabs. Despite the name Hermit, Hermit Crabs do actually do better when they live with other Hermit Crabs. Hermit crabs are surprisingly fun to watch when they crawl around and explore their environment. I used to line my hermit crabs up and watch them race. They didn't really because they were a bit slow, but at least they had out of cage time. You also want to have other shells in their tank and or enclosure because they will move into a bigger shell when they outgrow their old shell. So just make sure to have spare shells in their enclosure that are larger than the shell they currently have on. But do not force them into a new shell. They will do this on their own and they do not require you to do this for them. Please don't ask me about hermit crab care as I only know their basic care and not any advanced care. I had hermit crabs when I was younger, so I still took good care of them, but the standards weren't above and beyond the average person, if that makes sense. I just cared for them like the average person would who owned hermit crabs. Unfortunately, there aren't a bunch of channels on YouTube that have videos on hermit crabs, but when I had hermit crabs, I watched Laurie's Heartland. She has a playlist on hermit crabs, and there's about 20 videos in that playlist if you wanted to check that out. Mice are very underrated pets, especially for beginners. Mice are easy pets to care for, and their care isn't too complex. I do know a lot more about mice than hermit crabs, because I was a bit older when I had my mice and there's a bit of a story behind it. So I got 2 quotation marks girls from a pet shop. I know I shouldn't have gone to a pet shop, but at the time I didn't realize there were breeders and rescues that had mice. But one of them turned out to be a male and they had babies. Then by the time we figured out which one the male was, the mum was pregnant again. But we had a lot of mice, but then we took them back to the pet shop because we didn't know who were girls and who were boys, and it became really stressful. They did smell a bit, and I was surprised because I thought only males smelt, and it was uncommon for male mice to smell. Well, that's why. We did have a male. If the original 2 were both females, I think I would have kept them. The dad's name was Salt and he was white. The mum's name was Pepper and she was a light brown colour with a white patch shaped as a love heart. They were both really friendly towards me and loved being handled, but after Pepper had babies, her personality changed dramatically. So if you decide to get mice, Just know that female mice need to be in at least a pair or more. Male mice should be housed alone, as two male mice will fight even until death. If you have any questions about mice, I found that Emiology really helped me a lot with looking after my mice. She is the channel on YouTube that focuses on mainly mice and rats. I've had two beta fish. One was red and one was blue. They weren't housed together, obviously, as beta fish shouldn't be housed together. With male fighting fish, they should not be housed together under any circumstances, as they will fight and will more than likely kill each other. Some people do have luck with keeping female fighting fish together, but I personally wouldn't recommend that, especially for beginners in case they do injure each other. Some fish don't need a heater, but fighting fish do need a heater. They also benefit from a filter, but I personally didn't use a filter for either of my beta fish because they're not the strongest swimmers. If you do use a filter, just make sure that it is suitable for fighting fish. The male fighting fish are the ones with the big fins. They mostly only display their fins when they see another male, but their fins are much longer than female fins. I don't usually recommend fish as a good pet for beginners, but I could look after my fighting fish, and I couldn't look after many other types of fish. Fish are still one of the harder animals on this list in my experience because of their water changes. However, I still wanted to include them because many people do well with fighting fish. I could look after them, and I can't look after many types of fish as I mentioned earlier, but make sure to research beta fish care as their care can be more complicated than other animals on this list such as mice or budgies. Last but not least, we have guinea pigs. I have had over 6 guinea pigs throughout my life, and I do have a bit of experience with guinea pigs. I've had guinea pigs when I was younger, and I feel that they aren't too difficult to care for. They might be one of the harder animals on this list, but they're certainly not as much work as a rabbit, a dog, or a cat. I do watch many guinea pig channels on YouTube, but mostly because of their cage makeovers, hauls, or fun videos like that. I don't really watch a bunch of videos on their care because I know the basics, if that makes sense, and I'm not interested in getting guinea pigs. I only watch the fun videos because I don't want guinea pigs, but I like watching other people's guinea pigs. Guinea pigs do best when kept in pairs or more, as they are social animals and do really benefit from being kept with other guinea pigs. I'm not sure why, but many people keep a rabbit and a guinea pig together. Please don't do this, but as I was saying, keeping a pair of guinea pigs is easier than having a group because their hierarchy isn't as complicated when there's only 2 of them. Guinea pigs tend to be generally very friendly, which is great for kids or people who are new to owning small animals. Of course, this changes depending on the individual guinea pig, but as a general rule, guinea pigs are friendly. Thank you so much for watching. Remember to let me know what your list would be if you were to make one. Remember to like and subscribe if you haven't already, and I will see you next week. Bye!